This is question number 2, and I'm just going to read it. The farmer grows corn and beets on her 430-acre farm. She wants to plant 200 more acres of corn than beets. How many acres of each crop does she need to plant? Okay, we always read the whole thing before we start. And the key to word problems is that almost without exception, what you're trying to find, the variables that you need to define, are in the last sentence. How many acres? It might be how much money. It might be how many people. It might be how many candy bars. It could be anything. In this case, it's how many acres. So I know that I am counting acres. Right? Acres of what? Beets. B equals beets. Acres. And corn, right? C equals, I'll write it, acres of corn. Defining a variable is a huge step in solving a problem like this. Just wanted to move that off to the side so I have some space to work. Okay, so I know that my total acreage is 430 acres, which means that the acres of beets plus the acres of corn equals 430. We're assuming she plants the whole farm. And she wants to plant 200 more acres of corn than beets. That can be tricky sometimes. Do I add 200 to corn or 200 to beets? Okay, so it's going to be more corn, which means to make the acres of corn and beets equal to each other, I would have to add to beets. That's, I think, the best way to think about it. You could do it with subtraction, but I think it's not quite as easy. So 200 more acres of corn than beets. That means the acres of corn is the same as the number of acres of beets plus 200. If I add 200 to the acres of beets, it's the same amount as the acres of corn because corn was more. Okay, so there are my two equations. So let's get those written in the right spot. Equation 1, doesn't really matter what order I put them up there in. So B plus C equals 430, right? And C equals B plus 200. This is definitely set up for substitution. You can use whichever method. It doesn't specify, but you can use elimination if you want, but you're going to have to do more work in the end. Since C is already solved for, I'm going to substitute B plus 200 for C in equation 1. That means I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it wherever I see C in this equation because they're equal. That's what this means, so I can substitute them. Right? So that gives me a new equation. The B there is staying. Plus, now, if there's a number in front of the C, if it has a coefficient, I want to use parentheses, but there isn't one, and I'm adding, so I'm just going to write B plus 200. And then I finish the equation equals 430. Now I have one equation, one variable. That's a requirement if you're going to solve. 2B plus 200 equals 430. I'm going to subtract 200. Both sides, always the same on both sides. 2b equals 130. Divide by 2. Excuse me, 230, right? Hope you caught that. divide by 2. Let's see, 230 over 2. What's that? 115? Is that right? So, I solved for beets. Make sure you answer the question, right? How many acres of corn? How many acres of beets? Beets is going to be 115 acres, not just 115. How do I get the corn? Well, I can substitute into either one of these two equations. It really doesn't matter. Just take a pick. Don't spend much time thinking about it. You'll waste time doing that. So anyway, beets was 115, so 115 plus 200 equals corn. That was easier, but I really just kind of picked. Wasn't worried about it. So 200 plus 115 is 315. 315. Use your calculator if you want to, or just add. Okay, so just checking. 315 plus 115, 0, 2, 4. Is that right? No, excuse me, 3. Because I got that extra 1. 430. That's how many acres I started with. There it is. Okay. Is 315, 200 more than 115? Yeah, well, that was pretty easy, that part. Okay. A lot of steps, but no one step is really very hard. Question 3. Solve for y. That means I have to get y by itself, right? Itself. Let's see if we can spell. It means I have to undo everything that's being done to y. I think about it as unwrapping the gift or the package. So, my equation right now is 4 over 5 times x plus 4 times y equals 20. I've got to get y by itself. It's order of operations in reverse, and I think that's what confuses students sometimes. See, normally I would do the multiplication, right? And I would do this multiplication over here, but I can't because I don't know what x and y are. So then I got to do the addition. Okay, so I'm going to undo, right? I want to get y by itself. Here it is. Right now I have 4/5 of x. So I'm going to subtract 4/5 of x from both sides. That's going to leave me with 4y equals 20 minus 4/5 x. Doesn't really matter what order I am over here on this side. I'm not graphing, I'm just solving, right? And now I've still got this 4, and so I've got to undo the multiplication. When I do undo multiplication by its inverse operation, division, make sure you divide the whole side. Huge mistake by lots of students, not doing the same thing to the whole side. So we're going to be left with y on the left. On the right, I've got 20 minus 4/5 x all over 4. Okay? That's mathematically correct. You could simplify it. You could simplify the 20 and the 4, and you could simplify the 4/5 and the 4. And if you did that, 20 divided by 4, let's see, 20 over 4, what's that? That's 5. Still got the minus 4/5 divided by 4. Well, I've got 4/5, and I'm dividing by 4. That sounds like 1/5 x. Okay, so I think either of these final answers, there would be some that would complain about the second one here, the one I got first, and would prefer this second one. So you probably ought to go ahead and do that. And that's what I'm going to write up at the top. 5 y equals 5 minus 1/5 x.